My first shift at the Housing Works bookstore. I made my way down Linden Boulevard toward Merrick. It was almost 1, and I had to be at the Housing Works bookstore at 2 for my first shift. I could have stopped closer to the house to catch the Q4. However, more buses run on Merrick if you catch the bus at Sayers Avenue. As I made my way towards Sayers, I realized that I should be taking pictures of all this. I snapped the first shot at St. Albans Park of the track. I took the second of the basketball court behind the bus stop. I took a lot more pictures from here on out, so I'll just narrate like usual from here. I grabbed the first bus that came, and it was a Q4. The bus was packed, and I was surprised that the driver even stopped for the two of us waiting at the stop. I didn't have a Metro card with any money on it, so I dropped a few quarters in the slot, one at a time, until the machine beeped and I knew the fare was paid. I wriggled my way to the middle of the bus and grabbed an overhead hook to stabilize my balance. It was a typical bus ride to Parsons and Archer. I didn't have time to take the subway all the way to the bookstore, so I made my way above ground from Parsons to Sutton Boulevard to take the LIRR train, which is much faster because it makes less stops. There was a homeless-looking chap on the way who was sweeping trash of the street into a dustbin. The guys that do that have uniforms in Manhattan over by Union Square. Who needs uniforms? I entered the LIRR station at 1:04 p.m. and read the digital sign. The next train was not until 1:13 p.m., so I had plenty of time to get a ticket, use the ATM, and snap some photos on my PDA. Around 1:09, I made my way outside the station. I walked up the stairs to Platform 2. On the platform, I noticed some guys working around the tracks on Platform 1. They had a generator that was making this loud warbling noise. I didn't have much time to figure out what they were doing before my train arrived. I boarded, then I removed my ticket and put it in the slot behind my left shoulder. Only an amateur hands his ticket over. When the conductor arrived, I pointed to the ticket and he took care of it. The ride to Penn Station was scenic but uneventful. We arrived underground, and I took the escalator upstairs to the main artery in Penn Station. I walked towards the 1, 2, and 3 trains on the 7th Avenue side of the station, past the ticketing area. There was a terrible street performer by the McDonald's on that end. I couldn't walk by him fast enough. I walked up to a touchscreen machine and refilled my Metro card. Then I swiped it in a turnstile and walked past 3 cops who were loitering around. There's always a lot of cops in the subway on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I initially walked up the downtown 1 train stairs. The platform was empty and the express train platform had a bunch of people on it. When an uptown True train arrived on the opposite platform, I walked back downstairs, then upstairs to that platform. I walked past another street performer who was playing a steel drum. He was much better than the other guy. I knew the downtown 2 was coming. I was right, and I boarded it. The train was running express, so I only had to ride it 1 stop to 14th Street. I disembarked and made my way up some stairs, then through a tunnel to get to the L train. The L train stops at 6th Avenue, so you have to go from the 7th to the 6th Avenue underground to catch it. Thinking back, I should have taken the F or V train instead of the L, but I had time to go. Or maybe not, because those orange trains never run on time. I waited 4 minutes for the L and took the train 1 stop to Union Square. I disembarked and made my way to the downtown 6th train. I had to go upstairs and cross the station. Then I had to go downstairs. I barely missed the 6th train that was there when I arrived at the platform. 2 express trains also arrived, but they weren't stopping at Bleecker. Finally, a downtown 6 train arrived, and I boarded it. I took the train 2 stops and disembarked at Bleecker Street. I walked to Houston and Lafayette exit. I then went upstairs and crossed the street. I walked down Crosby and into the Housing Works bookstore. I told one of the girls at the counter that I was here for my first shift. They said Zoe, the girl, or should I say woman because she's married, the volunteer coordinator, was downstairs. She told me to put my coat in the back office with the open door. I ran into Zoe on my way to the office. I said hello, she didn't recognize me, and told her I was here for my first shift. I went to the back and hung up my coat, then I met up with Zoe, who gave me a briefing. I don't even remember what she said in complete sentences. There was that much intel. So here's what I recall in outline form. All donations happen at the front podium. The stack of boxes there have books that are ready to be priced. The other books need to be scanned and sorted elsewhere. The pricing guns are behind the counter. On the prices are the date, the book code, and the price. Yellow prices are 50-cent books, small paperbacks. Orange prices are dollar books, larger books in questionable condition. The code sheet is behind the counter. They are 3-digit codes, so like 432 is memoir books. The attractive-looking books go on the podiums and stands. The art books are not allowed to be taken into the cafe part of the store. You get free tea and coffee and other discounts like 30% off books and half price on espresso. Then she said at 3, it was about 2:30 p.m., there was a staff meeting and I would be on my own. I grabbed a map and the code sheet and went exploring. I picked out a section upstairs and started sorting the books by author. Before I knew it, it was 4 p.m. I took a break and went to the cafe. I ordered an espresso and paid $1 for it. While I was looking for a seat, I ran into the female philosopher I met when I was at the store for the first time. She was prettier than I remembered. We talked for a bit, and after a while, I told her that I had to get back to work. I set my cup and saucer down in a tub by the trash can and headed back upstairs. Kept sorting books, and before I knew it, 6 had arrived. I spent my time in 432, 431, 421, 434, 433, 426, 425, and 427. I went downstairs and grabbed my coat. I asked if we had to sign out. The girls up front said no. I made my way to the Broadway Lafayette subway and waited for a Queens-bound F train. Another train whipped in, and this hot, sticky piss smell swirled around. But it wasn't long before the F train I wanted showed up. I took the F all the way to Kew Gardens. It wasn't a bad ride because I had a seat. I disembarked and waited for the E train. Another train arrived on the track and totally digged me out. It was another F train. I got on, then quickly got off and waited. It wasn't long before the real E train came. I took this train 4 stops, then disembarked at Parsons and Archer. Before I arrived at the line for the Q4, a limited stop Q4 bus had arrived. This bus would take me near, not across, the street from my home. I got on and rode. At 172nd Street, I disembarked and walked home. Moral. Number 1. There are always cute girls at Housing Works, quietly reading or volunteering. Number 2. Never take 7 trains round trip when you can take 4.